I just want to welcome again my special guests to the radio studio, Mr. Jack Killingsworth. And if you remember, last month I had Mr. Killingsworth on my September program around September 22nd. And that's when he explained out his vision and his goals for if he's elected into the office of supervisor election, what he wants to do. And it's good that when people have experience and know pretty much how to go about getting certain things done and want to implement them so they can just be the very best at what they do and make some changes. Because sometimes changes is good. Sometimes some changes are not. But sometimes changes are really good. When you've been doing something for so long a certain way, sometimes a change needs to be made. And I'm just glad to say already today that I voted, like Sister Diane. I think I voted on Wednesday. And it was just a joy going and getting your ballot completed because I asked for a ballot. I do the absentee ballot all the time. And I took it down there and got and voted, and it was just a pleasure. What everybody else was saying, talking about who had voted for the first time with ballots, and said, "Oh, I didn't know it was this simple." I said, "Yes, girl, that's the way to go. Get it done in the comforts of your home, and bring it on down here and get it in this box, and you're not stuck in any long lines on November the 6th." Now, in 2008, it was real exciting with everybody just in line and having conversations, deciding whether they're voting for Obama or McCain. It was just exciting. But listen, I can do what I did this year. It's just too much going on, and I want to get my vote in there and be through with it. And I'm encouraging everybody else, just like Sister Diane, if you need a ride, we'll come pick you up. But I'm going down there and getting signed up for some services to help out myself and anybody that doesn't have transportation to get to those polls so we can get them down there and make sure they cast their vote because your vote does count. Now, Mr. Killingsworth, just tell us what you want to share with us today about going out to vote today again and why we should vote for you.
Well, I hope that I can convince you to vote for me, but I truly hope that I can convince you to vote if you have any doubt about voting. As Denise said, today is the first day of early voting in Pinellas County. And they've changed the rules on early voting. For us, I think it's for the better.
Okay.
Now, instead of having 12 days of 8 hours a day, which was the previous law, now the law is we have 8 hours a day. 12 hours a day for 8 days starting today. So today through next Saturday, you can vote from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. in person at a supervisor of elections office.
Yes.
If you lived in Hillsborough County, you could vote at 13 public libraries in addition to the supervisor of elections office. Our supervisor of elections, the incumbent, doesn't really like early in-person voting, and we have not had the ability to vote outside of her offices for some time.
Why?
Well, she doesn't like it. She thinks that that it's too expensive, and she's pushing hard on absentee mail ballots, and that's a good thing. It is good to vote by mail if that's your preference. But many of us, including me, prefer to vote in person. And the advantages of, let me tell you why this nation, and in many nations throughout the world, people vote in person. It's because when you vote in person, you're in a public place with public witnesses that see you go into a closed booth and vote. There is no influence, outside influence on your vote. You are voting your personal conscience. You're not influenced by your spouse, by your parents, by your boss, by the neighbor down the street. You're voting your conscience in public, and you are seen to vote in public. No one can question that your vote was your vote, not someone else's vote. Unfortunately, when you vote by mail, you're voting in the comfort and privacy of your own home, or maybe you're voting in your boss's office. We don't know where you're voting. All we know is that you got an absentee ballot, you signed it, and you returned it.
Yes.
And in most cases, there's not a problem with that. But my problem is I want to know not only that my vote was uninfluenced by outside forces, but that your vote and everyone else's vote is uninfluenced by outside forces.
Yes, okay.
So voting in person is important. And
Yes.
if I'm elected supervisor of elections, I will ensure that those of us who prefer to vote in person, and by the way, that's over half the people in Pinellas County will vote in person. In the past, over 100,000 Pinellas County voters have voted at an early voting site. That has been greatly reduced because we no longer can vote in public libraries. And I believe that
So we don't have any, right here you say when we go vote, it's always at a supervisor election
it's
office.
at a supervisor
no
of elections
other,
office.
Okay.
That's the only place you can vote early in person.
Okay.
You can, of course, vote early by mail, but the only place you can vote early in person in Pinellas County is at a supervisor of elections office.
Is it just, how many do we have in Pinellas County?
3.
3. Okay.
We have one at 501 First Avenue North on the
Okay.
south side. We have one at the county courthouse in downtown Clearwater.
Okay.
Very hard to get to and not very adequate parking.
Yeah, I know where that one is.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is at the supervisor of elections main office in an industrial area in Mid-County on Starkey Road. And it's plenty of parking there, but it's in an industrial area. It's not close to where people live.
So is
and-
that one out there just for people in Largo, right?
Well, you
Or
can
something
vote. You
is
can
that-
vote you can vote in any of the offices. You can,
Okay.
if you happen to be in Tarpon Springs, you can
And you-
vote in the Clearwater office. But you can vote in any office. It's just that early voting. The emphasis for early voting was to allow people to vote closer to where they work as opposed to closer to where they live. Because you vote on election day, you vote in your home precinct polling place, which is close to where you live.
Okay.
Early voting was to give you an opportunity to vote close to where you work early. And if you don't work downtown Clearwater, downtown Saint Petersburg, or in an industrial park in Mid-County, it's not convenient to vote early in person. Yet, many people choose to vote early in person, and there is now a website. If you go to the Pinellas County Supervisor of Elections website, you can get the wait time at each of the polling places. And I just checked, the wait time in St. Petersburg is currently 20 minutes.
Okay.
And the wait time at Starkey Road office in Mid-County is 40 minutes. But you can vote and you can check online to see what the wait time is, so you can get a guesstimate of how long you'll have to wait if you want to vote in person at a Supervisor of Elections office. Of course, if you could vote in your neighborhood library, the wait time would be much less, and you could vote while you're returning a book or checking out a DVD or whatever reason you may be going to the public library.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that
the
would be
advantage
nice.
of
Oh,
that's the
yes.
advantage of voting in public libraries. People
Yes.
visit them every day for many different reasons. They take their children to an educational seminar. They check out movies. They check out books. They
Yes.
just go there for. Some people go there just to have access to the internet because our public libraries have many computer terminals. For those who do not have a computer or internet access at home, you can go to a public library and get access. And you could also vote at the same time.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our supervisor of elections doesn't think you should be able to do that. Over in Hillsborough County, they have 13 public libraries that you can vote at, in addition to the 4 supervisor of elections offices. And if I'm elected supervisor of elections, it would be my privilege to expand early voting in person at our public libraries once again.
That would be wonderful. I'm
I
telling
think
you.
so.
Something to look forward to. Now, when does the supervisor election office comes up for re-election? How
It's-
often? Every
It's
2
every
or
4 years. It's
4?
a 4-year term. It's just
Every 4 years.
Every
Okay.
4 years in presidential election years, which
Okay.
is now.
Okay. Every 4 years.
And,
Okay.
There is.
I know.
there's some-
I was just. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I was thinking, last month when you were on the program, I think I asked you how long the current incumbent supervisor election had been in office, and I think you said 12 years.
She's
something
been
like
supervisor
that?
elections for 12 years, and
Yeah.
she's seeking an additional 4 years for a total of 16. But she's been an employee of the supervisor elections office for about 35 years. She went to work there as a clerk many years ago, and was appointed to the position by Governor Jeb Bush when the previous supervisor had to resign for health reasons.
Okay.
So she learned how to conduct elections using punch cards. And her tenure is in the transition to electronics and computer-based voting has been kind of spotty. There's been a lot of avoidable errors and mistakes in the application of the computer technologies. And I think it's time for a change in the elections office, because you can get stuck in a rut. Good people can get stuck in a rut.
Oh,
they
yeah.
can lose their peripheral vision and get sort of tunnel vision and focus only on what they've done in the past and how they've done it in the past. And technology has changed. Our voting technology has changed. Our computer systems continue to evolve. There are many things that are on the horizon for computer-based and electronic assisted voting, some of which are already in use in other counties within the state. For instance, now that we have voter ID requirements, you have to present a driver's license or some other state-issued voter ID in order to vote. Well, if you look at your driver's license card, it has a little magnetic strip on it, like your credit card.
Yeah, on the back of your driver's license, yeah.
So there's technology available used in other counties where you can scan your driver's license at a machine to enable you to vote, and that materially increases the speed of voting, the amount of time it decreases the amount of time required to vote, so that the lines at the polling places are much shorter. So that's a simple enabling technology that we're not using. We should be able to process people at the polling places much quicker than we do, and scanning your driver's license instead of having a human being look at it is one way to speed up voting at the polling places.
Well, are they doing that at all these days, like trying to scan, or is just always everybody they're just reviewing the information on it? That's the process they're going. No one is scanning them at all.
Well, in other counties in the state there are, but not in Pinellas.
Okay, really?
Yes.
Okay. Didn't know that.
And I think Colorado, for instance, is one of the states that led this technology. I believe that all their polling places they scan the driver's license.
Okay, yeah, and like you said, I never thought about it, but I do see the little strip on the back and never thought about it till you just mentioned it. Oh, it's saying, I can say, yeah, I've seen it now, but never thought about that process being used for that.
One day you may be able to get through the airport lines much quicker by scanning. And a lot of, there's a lot of pros and cons on a national ID card. Many people don't like the idea of being able to track your every movement by scanning your driver's license when you go through turnstiles or board a bus or an airplane. It's like big brother's watching, and I understand that.
And you feel like that, yes, you do.
There is but there is a positive side to verifying your identity quickly to make life and commerce easier and more affordable.
Yes. Now, Mr. Killingsworth, we have probably about a good 5 minutes left. What I want you to also just share with the audience before the end of this program is we've already expressed, if someone was to go out today and somebody is listening that may be going out this afternoon, when they get to the supervisor elections and they remember, I heard this man today at about 1 o'clock on the radio, so I remember that name. When they look at your name, what is it that you want them to remember about you?
Well, when they see what they will see when they vote on the supervisor elections election is, by the way, about elections. We have really multiple. This is election day, election season, but there are really multiple elections. We're electing a president, senators,
judges, and amendments.
So we have multiple elections. What I want you to remember is to vote in every election. Make a selection in every election. And when you see on the ballot, in the second column on the first page, you will see the sheriff, and then following the sheriff's selection, you will see supervisor of elections. You will see Deborah Clark, Republican, followed by Jack Killingsworth, NPA.
That's right.
In the past, you would have seen an I after the incumbent's name to remind voters that Ms. Clark is the incumbent. But the legislature changed that requirement. No longer do you know who's an incumbent by looking at the ballot. That is an important election change that is in no other purpose than to encourage the re-election of the incumbent. So I would hope that when you go and look at my name on the ballot, that you see a well-qualified, competent individual, well-suited to manage the supervisor of elections office with no party affiliation, no bias towards one political party or one faction within a political party, and that you'll remember that I'm an electrical engineer, that I have a business degree, I have a master's degree in business. I ran my own business for over 20 years, designing computers and computer equipment for the aerospace and defense industry. I have devoted my entire life to defense of this nation, first as an enlisted sailor in the U.S. Navy, and then as an engineer starting at Honeywell and designing computers for our national defense. I really understand the technology involved in voting, and I understand business and business applications and how to run a modern electronics and computer-based election system. Punch cards were nice in their day, but their day is past, and I think Ms. Clark's day is also past.
Well, I think after 2 terms, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, but if the president can only serve 8 years, why someone else getting a chance to? Now, Supreme Court justices. Now that's lifetime once you make it there in Washington. But other individuals, it's just like 12 years. Give somebody else a chance. That's my feelings about it.
Well, I think it's not so much giving someone else a chance.
Well, what?
It's getting new insight and new views
New ideas.
on how to do the job.
That's what we're
how to
talking
do it
about.
better.
Yeah, exactly.
After doing the job 12 years in a row the same way, day after day, you get tunnel vision. Even good people get tunnel vision. And it's time, not so much for a change, but it's time for new insights and new visions. And
it's like it's a new
skills.
day, new changes, new views, so I'm with that too. And like I say, change is good sometimes. Sometimes change is not good depending on what it is what you were before and something you become that may not be very positive. That's why I would say sometimes change is not good.
Well,
but however.
Let me mention that on the Supreme Court, the Florida State Supreme Court justices, their appointment is not for a lifetime. The U.S. Supreme Court justices are for life. In Florida, the appointments are for life unless recalled by the citizens every, I think, 8 years. You get an opportunity to affirm to keep the justice or not. And this year we have 3 justices who are up for reconfirmation or retention by the public. So we get an opportunity to keep justices or not.
I know I saw that Lewis, Quince, or somebody, and whatever the other name is.
There are 3 judges
Yes.
that have made rulings that the Republican Party didn't like, so they're trying to get rid of them. That's the bottom line.
Well, Mr. Killingsworth, I want to thank you so much today for coming back again and sharing this information on exercising our right to vote, going out to vote, early voting, and just expressing your desires to be the next supervisor election that was elected on November the 6th. So we just want to thank you here at Praise 1590 on Matters of the Heart Ministry, because that's what you're supporting today, and we are supporting you. So thank you today for coming out, and I hope at the end of the night on November 6th, I hear that you've been elected.
Thank you, Denise. And please back Jack. I'm the only Jack on the ballot. Thank you.
Okay, all righty.